To order. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, so we just have a quorum tonight. We have a couple of members who will not be here. So we've got no members of the public, so
7 o'clock.
So did you say we're not a quorum?
We are a
we are
quorum.
quorum.
Did you need
I
a
said we have
packet, Corey, by the
several
way? I
that
don't
are
think I
not
put one in
here
here.
tonight. Okay, so we can vote to approve the minutes for the February meeting, February 12th meeting. Did everyone get a chance to review those? Okay, can I get a motion?
All right.
She did them in the style of Julie Curtis.
She did. She did.
Borrowed your template.
All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Corey. Second?
Welcome.
Corey, who seconded it?
Your mic's not working here.
Mike, you need a packet. Sorry.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, everyone's got their folder now in front of them? Okay.
It's got everything.
And the minutes were sent out ahead of time. We have a motion by Corey. You seconded? Okay. And, no. Okay.
I got it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion approved. All right, we're going to get right into the trustees' report. We've been playing around with this for a while, and the scholarship for the employees at the library, and they were distributed in there was a mix-up in communication between Noel and I. That's why they didn't go out earlier, so I apologize for that. We will now talk instead of texting because texting leaves too much to be misinterpreted. But we do have a draft here. I don't know if anyone had a chance to look it over since we've been sitting here. But I
didn't have it. I mean, I just
and
got it.
that's fine, Julie, because I think so few people are here tonight, and I really would like the others to be able to participate in this.
You also saw it. We discussed this draft at
Yes.
our last small group meeting, subcommittee meeting.
Yeah, it was the same thing. There really weren't any changes. What I'd like to do, though, before we vote on it, I think I'd like to wait until everybody's here and send this out to everybody and just make sure we're all on the same page and no one's got any changes that they'd like to make.
Also, just to be clear, would we be voting on like the procedure because we haven't established, and we probably can't until we have the investments committee going, what the actual fund
Right.
will consist of?
Right, but what's in here is that we can change that every year anyways. So, yeah, so I would like to just vote on the policy. Yes, because I think that's something that would be really nice to do for our employees. So, school's expensive, getting more expensive by the minute.
Of course, I agree.
So I'll send this home with everybody here and we'll send it out, make sure everybody else gets it to look it over.
There's also an application that you can send if you, this was just the terms and
Right,
conditions.
this was just the
Yeah.
terms. Yeah, so I can attach that to it
Yeah.
if you like, and we'll
Might as
send out
well
the
if
whole
everyone's gonna be
package.
looking it over.
Yep,
Yeah.
okay. So we will table that, not that it's not done, but I'd feel more comfortable if everybody was here voting. I know we have a quorum, but I'd still like the other four to be here. Okay, and also, Ken and I just started looking at that, the procedures for the investment committee. There are more than one, or there is a little bit more that needs to be fleshed out. So we're going to take like one more week to look at that. We will send it out in advance of the next meeting so everybody can see it. And that's, once we have that in order, then we can actually vote on who we're going to have on the committee or how we're going to set that committee up. And then we can meet with Cornerstone again and see if we can see what their recommendation is for the scholarship committee this year and see if we want to keep our investments where they are or go into some other types of investments. But that, do you all know what I'm talking about here? The bylaws and operating procedures for the investment committee?
Talked
And then
about
we
last
talked
month.
about that at the last meeting. Yeah, so we started looking at that, and there were a few more changes that had to happen than what we initially thought as we went through the pages. So I just want to meet one more time, get that all fleshed out, and then we'll get that done. And that was really just revising the policy. We're not really rewriting it. We're bringing it up to today's terms because we've have a change in the people we have on the committee now, and so we will present that for the next meeting, and then we can move forward with that as well. So hopefully next time we'll have the scholarship committee minutes, or the scholarship committee policy done, as well as the investment committee. We'll vote on that, and we'll get those two things up and running. In the meantime, I will speak with Cornerstone, because I do think we have a good idea of what we're going to be able to do for scholarships this year. We just want to make sure we're going to keep that we're on track for that for this year, to give that money out. Okay, do we have our treasurer's not here?
We
Oh.
didn't, yeah, so I don't think we would have the treasurer's report.
And I
done.
forgot to bring it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Julie, I'll get that to you. Shoot.
Well, we'll just have to table it and do like we did
We'll do the
other
two.
months.
Yep.
We'll do
Yep.
2 next
Yep.
month for the treasurer's report. Yeah.
Okay. Although I can get it to her, even though we're not doing it this time. She can put it in the minutes so we can approve it. You don't want to do that?
No, you want to probably do it all in the second,
Okay.
because like you want to put them together in the
Got
next
it.
one, because you have to
Got it.
vote on them separately anyway. So
Okay. We'll do that next month then. All right, so we'll go into your, well, I'm just looking.
yeah,
Okay, so we'll do the director's report, and we kind of went out of order here a little bit.
No, it's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Director's report.
Director's
please.
report. As far as the director's report, if everybody's read it, are there any questions about the director's report? Before, I don't really have new things to talk about, I think, right now, which is unusual. But
I had one question about the salary comparison study.
yes.
I assume if the library hasn't done that before, did that started because of the collective bargaining agreement?
Yes, yeah. So I had actually last spring surveyed some communities about their salaries. And so I am now involved in getting it. It's a little tricky just because all of the libraries don't call the same positions the same titles. So if you just send out a request to HR and say, what do you pay your whatever department heads, they might not use the term department head, and so they won't send you anything back because they're like, well, we don't have that position at our library. Well, they do, but they call it something else. So I am helping with directly asking library directors for, the numbers so that we can get some accurate idea of what other communities are paying. So, and then we try to come in, or they say that the standard that Steve Bartha used to tell me was that the town tries to very solidly be paying at the 75th percentile of similar communities. So we'll see. We'll see what those numbers come out to be. And that's a good thing.
They're interviewing the final candidates for the town.
Manager right now,
Right.
as we speak.
As we speak.
Tried to find a way to be in multiple places at once. It's not a lot.
Well, you'll get to watch it after on DCAT afterwards. Any other questions from the report piece? Yeah, go
I
ahead.
have another one.
Yep,
It's
go.
not important, but the discrimination anti-harassment training. I'm just curious, who runs that? Or who does that?
So they had one in town for the town employees like late last spring, but it was at and so I went and Jen McGeorge went, but it was at a weird time. It was like 1 p.m. So I couldn't shut it's like you couldn't shut the library down at 1 p.m. for like an hour. It was just a weird thing to make everybody be able to go. So it's actually from the law office that the town works with. So they had brought in a lawyer to do the training. It was very good. So I am so the town manager's office has connected me with the person who did the presentation for them, and so she'll come back and do a presentation just for the library, so I can make sure that all the library staff have that training, which I think is important in these days and times. Yeah. Any other questions about anything?
How was the Women Leading Government Conference?
It was good. It was the first time I'd gone to it. There was only, I think, 3 of us from Danvers who went. Like, some towns sent like 20 people. Like, It was crazy. There's 220 people there. And I was saying earlier, it was fun because
From
it
all
was
over Massachusetts.
from all over Massachusetts. It was in Rentham, lovely Rentham, but it was actually at a nice place. But there was 220 women there, and there were 2 men, and one of the men was Steve Bartha, which was funny. So I chatted with him after. We kind of like had a little catch up afterwards before he left. But yeah, it was really good. So so it's for all levels of women throughout government. So there were people there who've only been working, in government for a couple of years. It might be a budget officer. There was I met an assistant, health director, just kind of things like that. And then, all the way up to town managers. So there were whole group presentations. They had a couple of breakout presentations. So I went to, so the first one was about the, sort of how to promote yourself, how to interview better and promote yourself, that kind of thing. And then the breakout sessions, one was kind of how to move up through government. But of course, I'm already at the top level for myself, so I didn't go to that one. But I went to the one on artificial intelligence instead in government, which was, is of course becoming a more and more interesting and vital topic. So there were 3 communities who kind of reported on how they've been using AI. So that was interesting. And then, and one of them told a cautionary tale, not for them, but for Hong Kong. Actually, got fooled by AI and lost $25 million. So, yeah, it's there's some cautionary tales there. And then in the afternoon, they had a person presenting on how to do feedback, doing good feedback, and to have different ways to overcome when you're uncomfortable about giving negative feedback and things like that too. So it was good. I thought it was a nice, valuable day, and I met a lot of people from different towns, and a few other library directors I knew were there from different places. So it was good, and it was the first time I've ever been to it. So I'll go again. But yeah, through the Massachusetts Municipal Association, who, now that I'm on their radar, they keep sending me emails about all sorts of things. So they have more events during the year. So I will look for more of those as well. Anything else anybody wants to ask me? Yes, no, maybe. So I'll just remind people, so this Saturday is the select board review of the town budget. And the library will be presenting after the public schools. The public schools go first at 9:30, and then we'll go after them. Last year, I don't remember who came with us last year. It was a very long presentation from the schools. They do not expect they will be going on forever this year. So,
Well, the microphone's not working.
This Saturday,
the select board review of the budget is this Saturday.
Do you know what time?
9:30. 9:30.
9:30 the meeting
If
begins.
that time
Yeah.
changes, can you let us know? Because in the past, they've changed it.
Yeah, it won't change. So I believe kind of about 9:15 they begin their sort of overview part, and then at 9:30 the schools are scheduled to start, but we're bundled with the schools, so the schools will talk, and then we'll go right after the schools. So it'll be, who knows, maybe we'll be at 9:45, maybe we'll be at 10, but
And it's going to be in the Toomey room?
it'll be at the Toomey room, yep, as it usually is, yep, so, and televised. So, of course, the more trustees there, the better to support. Of course, our part's 10 minutes long, but, and the running joke is that, of course, this library looks great after the schools have their gigantic budget, and then we have our teeny tiny budget. They're like, sure, of course, the libraries are good. I happened to see the superintendent for a meeting, was that last week? 2 weeks ago. And I was saying that after last year, because the schools went for so long, and then everybody got up and left, and Eric Crane from the school committee felt guilty, so he stayed because he felt bad that everybody left. And so I was telling that to Dan Bauer, and he's like, oh, that's not right. I'll stay this time. I'm like, you don't have to stay. But he's like, no, I'm going to stay and support the library. I said, thanks, Dan. He's very lovely.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a very nice guy. I like him very much.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, and it's been good to see. I'll just say it's been good to see some trustees out and about at some of the events. Yeah, I'm looking at Donna. Donna and Charles were at the Music from the Black South, and Julie and Jessica and Charles were all at the pancake breakfast. So it's nice to see people out and about, the trustees running around. And this Saturday, the Friends are having an Irish music concert in the afternoon at 2 with Gary Foreman. So that's their next big fun thing that's going on.
I'm sorry, what time is that?
2 p.m. 2 p.m. on Saturday. So that'll be great. I won't be able to go to that because it's my father's 90th birthday, so I'll be at a birthday thing for him instead in the
Happy
afternoon.
returns.
That's going to be in the Gordon Room?
That will be in the Gordon Room, yes. Indeed, it will be. And let's see, anything else that's going on? And yeah, the other thing that's making me very happy that I put in the report is that Jen McGeorge, after having been working from home and not being able to out while she's been on leave, will start coming back into the building like once a week at least. So she's actually going to meet with me tomorrow, and then we're going to be working out a schedule for her to be back in the building at least once a week. So that is making me very happy as well.
And she'll be representing you next month?
And she'll be representing me next month, yes, as I will be traveling. I said I've never missed a trustee meeting.
Sounds like an exciting trip.
It's going to be an exciting trip, yep, to visit my daughter, because she is student teaching in South Korea right now, and then she has a school break right after that first week I'm there, so we're going to fly off to Japan together, so it's going to be very exciting. I know it's going to be so much fun. And I had included on this page, so this is like the budget slide that will be at the select board review. And I know Jessica was kind of asking about what the budget was, and I was like, it might. But this is finalized for what it will be, except for obviously if when the compensation study is done, depending on what happens with that, like the numbers might bump up a little bit, but we don't know until the study's done. So. But that's the only thing that we don't know about that. But that's what the budget slide looks like, and then I have my other cutesy slides to go with it as well. So there is that. And yeah, I think I pretty much because it was late because I was late to getting the packet out. I was able to add more things to it that usually I have things that happened after I sent out the packet. So I'm kind of up to date. I don't think I have anything else that's. To report, just there's a few little small building things that finally got taken care of today. So in the last couple days, so those are good. Just like we had a tread that was off of the staircase, and that finally got glued back on, and some cabinets in the archives that needed to get moved. We needed a couple people to move them. They finally got moved, and some things like that were just little nagging things that needed to get done. But those got done in the last couple days, so that's been good. But I don't think there's anything else. Yeah.
Well, that's okay. Yeah. Any other questions for Noel? Okay, we'll move on to old business. And we did just discuss the tuition reimbursement scholarship. So, again, I'd feel more comfortable if everybody was here voting on it. So we'll make a point to do that next meeting and get that done. Pretty much it's what we discussed last time, but everyone has it in writing now to see it. And also under old business is signage update.
Yep, and that was something Mike asked for. So I am working with a signage company to do signage. It's just a very slow process. So it's just plugging along very slowly is all. But we're working on it. We're working on it, though.
What type of sign do you think you're looking at?
Well, so so we're going to put signs all over the building, right? So it's a big signage project because a lot of it's wayfinding signage, right? So it's like labeling the rooms, so make sure the rooms are labeled with what their names are, and then also other interior signage to help people with directions as well. So so a lot of it's just them, because they come and they do a site visit, and then they make recommendations of like where to put signs, because that's a whole nother big piece of it, like where signs should go, and then like what kind of font should we use and what colors should we use, and so it's a slower process than you like, but they take pictures of the building, so like they'll take pictures all over, and then they'll send you suggestions of signage superimposed on like the pictures of like the different building facades, so that you can have an idea of like what signs would look like, you know, where they would be. Does it look good there? Should we go with something else? So it just takes a long time, but it'll get there. It's just a slower process.
Like I said, I mean, it's pretty simple. You are in the classroom.
Right.
You know,
right.
You are in
but that
study.
yeah.
You are.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, those signs are easy, but I mean, it's going to be part of a bigger project, so just doing it all at once. We're not going to just piecemeal it. So.
How about one more question about safety? The emergency lights, should that building become dark, has anybody tested the emergency lights in that building for a while?
Which emergency lights
Well,
are we
if the lights
talking
go out
about?
in
Like
the library, there must be some emergency lights that must come on, right?
There are some emergency lights. They do come around, I think, every year and check them, because they do the same thing. They have to check the exit signs to make sure the lights on the exit signs are working and stuff like that too. So they come around every year to do it. I cannot tell you off the top of my head when I last saw them, because that all just merges together. Because usually they'll come around with someone from the DPW and do it. So I can't tell you when the last time I saw them do it, but they do fairly regularly, because they'll come through, like they'll test they did very recently, within the last month or so, test like the fire systems. Just those got recently tested. They recently, because they switched to a new security company, so like that person had come in and like went through all the security stuff. So they're keeping up with it. Yeah. Any other questions you have about that?
No, I mean, I'm just, thinking ahead, wondering, just the time frame,
For the signs?
the signage.
I cannot even tell you. It's just it's slow. I mean, I'm hoping it's something that gets done by the end of the summer. But it kind of depends on, because like once we've decided and all of these things, like then they have to manufacture. And so they have to do quotes, and then we have to like get the quotes approved, and then we have to go through manufacturing, which is another time, and then they come and do the installation. So, but we don't know a set timeline yet, because we're still working through a bunch of things.
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
Sure.
This has been an ongoing thing for years.
What?
That we need signage. And way before you were here, that's how far back this has been going.
I will tell you, Julie, that I am actually shocked that we have a building as old as we have a building, and we do not have good signage.
It's a sad thing, but we don't know when somebody's going to come in and create terror, or even worse than create it. And it would be a terrible thing if it ever happens and they don't know where people are.
I mean, the one thing I'll say about the library is, I mean, if you're on the second or third floor, you can see everywhere, right? So if you just say I'm on the third floor, like there's not really hidden areas. There aren't.
If somebody chooses to hide, you won't see them.
But there's no place to hide that's not like those two floors are completely open, and so if somebody called the police from the second floor, they can just say I'm on the second floor. Like there's no places designated on the second floor that we're going to be naming different than the second floor. There's just like the reading room there, which is completely open with glass windows. So if somebody called in and said I'm hiding, they're going to be like, I'm on the second floor. They're not going to. So like those two floors, like third floor and the second floor, there aren't really spaces.
Okay.
And the office spaces are locked. So unless you have a key, you're not going to be, if you're just a regular person, you're not going to be in those spaces. So those aren't going to be spaces that you're going to say, I'm in the third floor offices. You're not going to be there.
The only thing I can say is that there have been times I didn't know what floor I was on.
Well, we're not going to have a sign, though, that's going to say, I'm on the second. I mean, it's not going to say second floor hanging all over the second floor,
that,
right?
Chances are a person wouldn't know if they were on the second or third floor.
Maybe. I don't know. How would you not know if you're on the second or third floor?
Listen, there have been times I didn't know what floor I was on.
That's okay. All right. That's a point. But, it's not going to say, we're not going to have hanging around the walls all over the second floor, this is the second floor. That's not something that's going to be, right? So
I just can't stress enough that I would say this has been going on for 8 years. At least 8 years.
I've talked to the police about it. They are not concerned about it in the way that you are. So, I've talked to them about it, and they don't think that it's as a necessary thing.
Happens.
I think they have a schematic of the building.
Yep.
But, again, I guess I want to just say it clear again that Julie and I keep talking about it. If something happens at that library, well, guess what? We went on record saying we need more safety in that place. Now, like what does it take for a simple stand with a nice sign on it? You are in classroom 2. What does it take?
That is not the problem. That isn't the problem. The problem, like what you're saying though, is you're like, well, if I don't know I'm on the second floor, I'm not going to have a sign on every wall that says this is the second floor, right? That's not what we're not going to do that. So anybody could be anywhere on the second floor, and they might not be near a sign to say they're on the second floor. So if you're not near that sign, how is that? I'm not saying I don't agree with the safety piece of this, but I'm just saying it's not particularly feasible to say that there's going to be, like, you can go up to the second floor, you're entering through a door, it says this is the second floor. That's what we're going to be doing, something like that. We're not going to be having a sign on every wall. And you could have we're all in the corner, they're not going to see that sign that says they're on the second floor. So how is that? So I'm trying to figure out what the use is, like where the middle ground is for that. Like, I agree, if you're in the classroom, there can be a sign that says you're in the classroom, and that's kind of a hidden space. But, like a lot of the other spaces are just open space, where there's not going to be like a spot where everyone's going to look to see I am on the second floor, right? So
I dare say that then if an event is going to be planned at that library, if somebody's ever going to plan an event at that library to cause an issue, it's going to be planned.
Sure.
They're going to have their homework done. They're going to know that building, and they're going to know where people go, where they won't go. And to think that we just brush it off and say, we don't need. You don't need to sign every wall. You don't need to sign every wall. I get that.
Yeah.
And but I'm just saying is that in a situation, God forbid, like they have Columbine and everywhere else, people in a panic didn't know where they were. And okay, I'm on the second floor. You mean to tell me that okay, if they're between 2 bookshelves, I'm on the second floor. They know that. They know they're on the second floor.
Sure.
But public safety people come to that building need to know, get as much information where these people might be when they're calling.
Sure.
And to delay it, or to pass it off in any way that it'll never happen to the library. Like I asked about the emergency lights. Okay, how about this suggestion here? If the lights go out in that building, and you've been in there when it's dark, right? The lights go out in there, that's pretty dark in there. I've been in there, it's dark. Maybe we should think for safety reasons at every desk where employees are that they have some access to a rechargeable flashlight.
I already did that. I did that when I first started there.
Every one of
There's
them?
a flashlight at every desk. I did that when I first came.
I think we need to have a discussion at some point because I don't,
Does the police department do a survey of the safety of the public buildings?
I have no idea if they do. I've had conversations with them. I've had them come in to do a training with the staff to talk about. We have so many exits in that building, like it's very easy to get out of there.
And
so
there's
it's,
an
like,
emergency
nice.
action plan, I assume?
Yeah, we have a whole binder with emergency, like what you do in different emergencies.
The building doesn't change that much too. So I mean,
No, the building hasn't changed. Like really, the exits are all the same in the building. I mean, I have no problem with putting signs up in the building to say, but I feel like that we're kind of talking in a circle of saying that there's someone could be on the second floor in between stacks, not near a sign that says I'm on the second floor, and so they're not going to know when they're calling where they are.
Is the emergency action plan created or at least like signed off on by public safety?
That's a good question.
Fashion?
I don't know. It was created before.
Because I feel like
my
it's
time.
really not. I mean, obviously we have a board member who has some expertise in this matter, but we are not the experts on the
Right.
safety of the building. And so for me, if the police department has reviewed the emergency action plan or the emergency action plan is up to date, then I would consider that to be sufficient.
Yeah. I mean, I have met
and
with
I'm
them.
glad
and
to hear that the
spoken with
signage
them,
is
yeah.
under in
Yeah.
progress, and I think it'll be great.
And what I can do, let's end this at this point. We are working on the signage, Mike. No one's saying it's not important, and we're not saying we're not going to do it for another 8 years. It's being worked on, and it's going to happen. It might not be as quick as you'd like it. It's not going to be tomorrow, but it's going to be soon. No one's saying it's not important, so we do understand the importance. The other thing I can try and do is see if the police chief and the fire chief might want to come out and talk about safety from their perspective, what they think might need to happen.
Yeah, they can come out again. I mean, I've had
Well,
them
to
already,
us, so
but to
everyone
hear.
on the board
Yes,
Those
yeah,
is
yeah.
mics aren't
comfortable.
working over there.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can see if we can do that.
Those mics aren't working.
I think you have
'Cause
to
we
be
should
very
know.
close to them.
Okay. So that concludes old business. Anything else?
And the only thing I put in your packets was just a one-pager, but it's on two sides. That's just talking about some of the current bills that are in the legislation of Massachusetts right now. So this is just kind of like an overview of it. There was very recently, I was at a legislative breakfast on Friday, and one of the bills, I want to say it's 2535, that was already in there. Somebody introduced a crossing out of a line in the bill that would open up public and school librarians to prosecution for having certain materials in their collections. Because there were all these legislators there at that breakfast that I spoke to, and one of them is on the library caucus. Like, she was like, oh, like, no, like, that's not going to happen. That will never pass. The library caucus will not let this out of committee. But there are efforts to make inroads towards making libraries and librarians criminally responsible for having certain materials in the building, which is of much concern to me because I don't want to go to jail for having some books in my library, which we're going to have. So I'm just like sending this along just so that you're aware of some of the stuff that's going through the legislature right now. And if the thing that the legislators urge us to do over and over again is contact your local legislature and say, hey, please support these bills, like these certain bills. They are of concern to me. Please sign on to them and become a supporter if you are not already. And it's very easy to you can just email them. You don't have to call them. You can just email them, find their emails, and send one in and say, please support these bills. So that's, I think, just important for
Do we
us
know
to be
where this is?
where it is. What do you mean?
Is it before the House reform?
Actually, I cannot tell you right now. The Legislative Committee of Mass Library Association kind of keeps tabs on it, and then they'll send occasional updates. I don't think anything is, at a point of being voted on yet. They're just in the committees, right? Looking at the bills and
So
playing
it
with
would
the language.
It would be well worth us to contact our legislators
Yes. Yep.
in the House and the Senate both? or-
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And just say, hey, these bills, I would like you to support these bills and co-sponsor if you can. So these are all ones that are trying to keep things safe for libraries and access for everybody for materials. So Yeah. So just putting that in front of your noses.
All right, and that probably should have been under new business, which wasn't on
Yeah.
our agenda.
Well, I didn't. I just got this
No, it's
recently,
fine,
so
it's fine.
that's why it's.
But I
it's
have
just-
something
I'm
else
just
that I'd
adding
like
it
to
new
bring up
business.
too, and that's the conflict of interest training, the ethics training. Has everybody done that?
I have not completed that yet.
Okay.
I just wrote it on my to-do list. So again,
And I'll bring it up next month when everybody's here, but we can put that out in the minutes as well, Julie, to remind people to make sure that's done. Or if
Do you
they're-
get notified of who has?
I don't. That's why I just wanted to bring it up again.
Yeah.
fantastic. I love certificates.
Yes, you can print it out and bring it in.
I did mine early, that's all.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I didn't
good.
even print mine out. I don't know. I think someone at the town gets it.
Yeah, so the human resources for us gets all. If you're employee, they get all of their notification that we did it. I'm not sure if what happens with elected officials. I don't know who gets
I'll
sent
check
the
and find out.
notification.
I'll check
Yeah,
and
that
find
they-
out. I just wanted to remind everyone.
There's
to
a
do it.
link. It sends it to you right to it.
Mhm.
Right, but who gets notified in town that you've done it?
I had to do it for retirement board. I had to do it for the library.
Right, I know, but do you know so if you contacted if you contacted
Human
the town
resources.
clerk, do they know, or is it human resources have it? I mean, I know human resources has mine, but I don't know if they have elected officials.
I'll call and find out.
Yeah,
and see if
I'm
I
just
get that
curious. I don't
information.
know. I don't
Yeah.
know that answer to that.
I just want to make sure we're all on the up and up.
Yeah. Well, we should be.
We should be.
We should be. And they keep changing the training, so it's slightly
I
different
know,
all
and
the
they're
time.
changing the way you do it. Yep. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Can't get out of it now.
No. Well, not that you could before, but they changed it. Okay. Anything else? Can I get a motion to
Adjourn.
adjourn? I've got a motion from Ken. Second?
Who said?
Corey.
My motion.
Ken made the motion. Corey seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
What time is it?
7:37.
7:37. All
Didn't have a
right.
lot of people here tonight.
We
Okay,
are
we are
adjourned.
adjourned.
Yay.
Thank